Jack Kemp. That's it.
Thank the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for being willing to come down to Atlanta on his very first visit. He was sworn in yesterday, and but it was only, I think, Thursday or Friday that we talked, and he suggested that he'd like to come to Atlanta because he had heard that there were lots of people who were doing a lot of good things, as well as most of the problems that you have in urban America, and that he could possibly get a balanced view of what was happening. And so most of you, I think, were only contacted Friday or Saturday, and some only last night. And so we're very grateful for you for making time. From here, we plan to get on a bus, and we plan to tour some of the projects that are going on and some of the areas where projects will go on. Mr. Secretary, these are people in our city, both Democrats and Republicans, who both from a political, a business, and a religious motivation have worked together to try to deal with some of the problems of housing people in urban America. And I'd just like to thank you for giving us your ear and your attention as you begin this administration, which we're all very optimistic and excited about. Not the least of which because we've known you as a person who's been willing to be aggressive and creative. And Atlanta is not opposed to free enterprise. We're not opposed to doing things creatively. We're not opposed to taking risks. And we're not opposed to working together regardless of party or motivation. And so we welcome you to our city, and we'll do our best as quickly as possible to tell you what we're trying to do.
Well, Mayor, I appreciate your comments, and certainly the hospitality of each and every man and woman around this table, particularly the city of Atlanta, and of course the county, Fulton County. I am excited to be here. Someone asked me the other day after I was sworn in how long I've been at HUD, and I said all day. It is not just symbolism to be in Atlanta. It's not just a manifestation of my desire to see what's going on in this city and in this community, public, private, nonprofit, religious, entrepreneurial. That word is not just a word for the enterprise system. That's a word, that's a way of thinking about life and about problems. And so you're going to hear from Kemp a lot about entrepreneurship. A church leader can be an entrepreneur. A city council man or woman can be an entrepreneur. Mayors and politicians can be entrepreneurs. And I believe very strongly that action is called for. I'm an activist. I think that's the one thing that unites us all. Andy has not only limited you to 3 minutes, he's limited me to 2 minutes. And a Kemp speech for 2 minutes is definitely an oxymoron. But I am, as Andy said, here to listen. You've got my eyes and my ears, my attention. You also have my heart. I said yesterday as I was sworn in when George Bush gave really an exciting mission to HUD in his administration. He told us that he wanted to reach out to the poor, that he wanted HUD to open its doors to all folks, to be involved not only in housing, both public and private, but in urban economic development. It's something I'm excited about. Andy and I were served in the House of Representatives together. He has adopted, as have many of you, the idea of special targeted efforts towards the type of economic development that I think is very much needed in the United States of America. Very much needed. We've had a macro recovery, a national recovery, but folks have been left behind. There is distress and despair in many of those areas of the economy that have been left behind. And that's where, excuse me, I definitely want to focus my attention. Housing, low and moderate income housing, both public and private, urban economic development, free enterprise zones, making sure that we have a safety net under which no man or woman in this country should be allowed to fall, but at the same time a ladder of opportunity upon which every man and woman, irrespective of their color, their race, or their socioeconomic condition, has a chance to climb. I want to thank you, Andy, again for the 11th hour help in putting this together. And it's not just symbolism that brings me to Atlanta, it's also substance, because I know things are happening in Atlanta, and that there is this partnership and this bipartisan effort that excites me. And I think, just make one last comment. I told Andy I was going to do something on Kemp-like for the next 6 months. I wasn't going to give any speeches, but here I am starting off. But just take it as a well-meaning spirited occasion that I am excited about the convergence of forces in the country today and in the world today, in which folks are willing to part with some of the shibboleths and their sacrosanct ideas about ideology, or even politics in many cases, and you find Republicans sounding a little bit like Democrats, and Democrats sounding a little bit more small d Democratic, and maybe even big D Democratic. In other words, I think folks are willing to put aside some of things and seek answers. I would make one other comment. The word pragmatism creeps into every speech of everybody. Pragmatism is a philosophy that suggests that you don't know what works, you just keep trying until you find something that works. Well, I don't want to put down that idea, but ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we know what works. President Bush said, we now know what works. Freedom works. Free enterprise will work. Private enterprise will work. Public-private partnerships will work. Incentives for folks to build houses will work. Re-incentivizing this country towards low and moderate income is, I believe it'll work. I don't come into this job as a pragmatist seeking a bunch of experiments. I don't want to experiment with an enterprise zone. I know that if you take off the capital gains tax on any man or any woman who invests in an area that is distressed, depressed, unemployed, CETA-eligible employees, folks on welfare, unemployment, children who have to move out of the area to get a job or the hope of a job, where those problems exist, I think there are objective criteria that we can identify analytically and suggest that they are in need of something dramatic, and indeed I would even use the word, get ready for this, radical. The word radical in Latin means getting back to the root of a problem. And the root of a problem is we've got to create entrepreneurial activity once again. John Jacob in his State of Black America, I watched it on C-SPAN, watched the whole thing, and said there's only 325,000 black businessmen and women in the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a disgrace to this country. We've got to change it. We've got to double, triple, or quadruple the number of men and women in the black community, the Hispanic community, the minority community going into business. You can't create employees without creating employers. It's a shock to some of my friends in Congress that there's no place in which you can create new employees without first creating some more entrepreneurs. And it's not what's good for big business is good for America, it's what's good for the small business men and women, and what's good for the worker that takes the job. So that's the spirit in which I come to Atlanta.
We'll be with you. Kenny? How are you, Kenny? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk right in that project over there.
Greg Webb.
How long have you been working on it?
We have two of our people, and then the rest are subcontract using our regular subcontract.
Oh, I see. So they work for
They work. Right, and then they may be out in the suburbs building more expensive houses here. That's down here.
You guys doing a good job, are you?
Yes, sir.
All right, keep it up. Count on you.
The answer is yes.
Count on you. Count on you. Do a good job. Okay. Well, redlining are areas of the country that here, historically have been either for de facto or de jure reasons been denied the liquidity, the investment that we want to see flow back into those distressed neighborhoods and communities. So my concept is that they need to be greenlined. And one reason I'm in Atlanta is because Charlie Rangel and Bobby Garcia and Bill Gray and some Republicans have supported this bipartisan enterprise zone bill that President Bush talked about in his State of the Union address. I've taken it a step further and suggested that it would be wise to show folks that we want to greenline what were those once redlined areas, and that means that they would qualify targeted tax incentives such as Mayor Young is using in Atlanta to get housing back into the inner city, which is a good idea. I also want to get jobs back into the inner city. And so there would be dramatic tax incentives for small businessmen and women to locate or to form a enterprise in the inner city. And that's in effect what the enterprise zone bill is all about. Mayor Young's not talking about so much housing dollars, at least in the housing zone or enterprise zone for housing. He's talking about an abatement on the property tax for 5 years, phased out over 10. Well, the Rangel bill, which is a concept that I helped develop with Congressman Garcia of the South Bronx and Bill Gray of Philadelphia, would say that in this green-lined area, you know, wherever we make the designation, that there would be no capital gain tax on any man or woman of any color, any background, that invests in an enterprise that hires folks off the unemployment or welfare rolls in that community designated with the cooperation of the federal government, the state, and the local government. It's a conceptual idea, and Andy Young has used the same idea for housing. I want to use it for jobs, because jobs and housing are the essence of that dream that we all share, irrespective of other differences in our society.
You bought this, and
No interest, right? This is,
that's right.
yeah.
This is one of the good. How much of your family you got living here?
I got 2 daughters.
Here's
son.
Millard
Charles, how you
Fuller.
doing?
Fine,
You know, he's got a kid named Tomorrow.
Is that right? I like that.
Tomorrow
I like
Tucker.
that.
How's Willeen?
Good
for you.
Oh, she doing fine.
That's good. That's good.
Well, that's great.
But Charles and I work.
How many children?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Got 4 myself.
Yeah. The other one is in high school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But Tomorrow's name is 10 years old. He calls himself Tomario.
Yeah. It's well, him. That mean I name it tomorrow. So there.
That's great.
All right.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Hang in there.
Thank you.
How
All
you
right, my
enjoying
friend.
your house?
Fine. It's fine.
Now, is this your, is this his house?
This is his house.
Great. Can I look around it? Tom?
Yeah.
You mind if I look around?
Yeah. You want to look inside?
Yeah, you mind?
Take him in.
He's a good man. See, a part of this program is that the people help build it. You know, he helped build it.
And I think that Jack Kemp has and George Bush has, they represent a different generation.
Does this say something about Atlanta, about Andy Young's administration?
Well, it says that Atlanta has been doing things, you know, with some level of success. I mean, we don't pretend to solve all the problems, but these houses for people for nothing. I mean, people were almost, well, they paid no interest, and there's no profit out of it. They worked on them themselves. I worked on the house of the lady over here in the wheelchair one day, and it was a good setup.
Jackie.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you. Okay.
Hey, Jackie.
Hey, how
I'm Jack.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Okay.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I understand that President Carter helped to build your house.
Yes, yes, he did.
Well, God bless him. That's a great, and you.
Thank you.
I just saw Thomas's house, or Charles, I should say.
I can't let y'all see mine because I ain't clean up this morning.
You ever had this much attention?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
What's your name?
Jacqueline Gray.
Jacqueline Gray.
And I want you to know something.
That's her home right there?
She built it. She helped build it. I mean, she didn't sit by and look. She was covered from head to toe with paint.
Yeah.
He's something else, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a nice man.
He can get things done. Well, I just wanted to come by and meet you, say hello. Tell when I talk to the president, I'm going to tell him that I saw one of the homes he built.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great opportunity for you, and I'm honored to meet you. Okay?
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
Jackie. I like that name.
Thank you.
Well, how you doing? We got the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development here. And we just showing him some housing around. How you doing? Okay.
Hi. How are you?
Secretary Jack Kemp.
Jack Kemp. How you doing?
All right.
Let's see you. Hi. How are you? What's your name?
Diane.
Diane. Hi.
Before he was a politician, he was a professional football player.
Don't hold that against me. Hi. How you doing?
All right.
The older I am, the better I used to be. How long have you been living in
Techwood.
Techwood, right? I'm interested in the Secretary of Housing. Just to get folks together. Would you like to own your own apartment someday, your own home?
Yes.
Of course you would. Of course you would. Everybody would. Well, I wish you well. Thank you for talking to me. All right? Wish you well. All right. Take care of those babies. Right? They're precious.
Good to see you.
Aren't they? That's our future right there.
Driver's license tomorrow. How you doing? Good to see you. How you doing?
Mama ain't done.
Oh, you
You
looking
got
good.
Brother Kemp here while I was there celebrating. Come on.
No? Hi, how you doing?
Hey!
Susie.
Yes, Kemp.
They think I came down to see
Why
Andy.
they
Huh?
bring you here on a day when they're celebrating me up there? You know I need to be.
Some folks think I came down to see Andy. I came down to see Susie.
No, I know you must have come to see me because you ain't talking about him.
How you doing?
Now, why I need you? I need you over there in Great Homes and Capital Homes where these apartments need them.
Well, we're gonna do our best. Introduce me to your friend.
This is Miss Smith,
Check it.
president of
President?
Capital Homes.
Sounds good, doesn't it? President. I like that. Hi.
That's Miss Betty Davis.
I'm Betty Davis.
Betty Jack. Yeah, nice to see you. How you doing?
And Michelle Walker.
Hey,
How you doing?
Michelle.
Our
How you
youth
doing,
programs
Michelle?
director.
Glad to see you.
Okay, we're gonna walk down the
Come with
street
us?
here and they're gonna pick
Come on.
up.
Yeah,
Walk with us.
I left my meeting.
See this young man?
I got his hand. You must have known.
You got mine.
I think we just get in the process of getting to finish it up.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well,
Okay, you got my hand in his hand.
yeah. That means.
Oh, woman! I've only been HUD secretary for about 24 hours.
No, you've been that long than that because I rode Bush.
I just got sworn in last night.
I rode him before he swore in. You ain't just started with me. You let him watch him before he was sworn in.
I don't want any controversy.
Wait. That's what I'm saying. And I'm here to talk about these people, these human beings, the homeless, and these people living in these projects and all that sort of stuff. They don't until they get ready to run for office. You see? And they need these housing projects to put them in office. So
Well, I'll tell you what.
I need you to deal with this thing. Trying to get some million. So decent
Someplace.
sanitary
Well, that's what we want to do. That's what
and
George Bush wants me
and John,
to do. That's why I'm here.
And John,
That's why I'm here. I'm not
and
in
John is right on that. John is right on that case. He
That's why I'm
he
here.
come in when I got 59.
I want want to look at some of the problems?
Do we want to go in this little tight that's on here?
Mr. Secretary, quick question. What strikes you as you walk down there?
Well, there's areas the same goals. Jobs for their education for their children, and of course their families, housing and housing opportunities, home ownership, a chance to get a piece of the American dream, and that dream is not subject to color or class or socioeconomic condition. It is a universal dream. It's what Jefferson talked about. It's what Lincoln talked about. It's what I've been here for 2 hours. You don't expect me to walk through these folks' homes and talk about tearing down housing, do you? We need to rehabilitate housing. We need to utilize it. We need to encourage and build more of it. So don't talk about tearing things down.
But nationally, aren't there some that need to be rehabilitated?
Put it in your coat pocket. I don't want you to lose that.
What is this? Is this yours? What is this? Did you get it? Did you get this award?
Yeah.
He's one of my heroes. Alexis de Tocqueville.
That's what I want you to put in your pocket and read about.
It will be in my pocket. But I can't read it in my pocket. I got to read.
Yes. They probably.
Secretary, how do you
This guy's doing
Call it urban homesteading. You give people a sense of control over their own destiny. Poor people are not without the same goals and aspirations that other people have. I want inner city urban youth to have the same dreams and the same aspirations as suburban.
Just a quick second.
It opens up the question of verification, and one of the centerpieces of the work of the First Committee is on enhancing verification. We now have, through the work of the UN Disarmament Commission, 16 principles on verification that have been agreed on by consensus. We're now on the verge of a special UN expert study on verification, that is to say, what's going to be the role of the UN in effecting verification. And as a result of this study that I see coming now, will possibly be the guidelines for how the UN can effectively function, if not police, such activity. This brings me back to the earlier point I made, that the world community is not yet ready to let the UN have the powers that it really needs to effect peace with full dimensions of security. But I think that we are moving toward it. There is a momentum, I would even call it an historical momentum, building up in the world today for such goals. The fact that we have not yet got to those goals, the fact that there are still obstacles in the way, does not vitiate the integrity and indeed the urgency of getting to the goal.
Well, would you like to see something that, in the way of a permanent agency that could monitor both nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons?
One could advance the case that such activity by the UN is inevitable.
Ambassador Roach, we have only a few seconds left. Is a nuclear war winnable?
A nuclear war is not winnable. There would be no victor and no vanquished. You couldn't tell the difference between the two. And we have to ensure that the UN is strengthened to eliminate forever such a possibility.
Ambassador, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us on this edition of World Chronicle. Our guest has been Douglas Roach, chairman of the Political Committee of the UN General Assembly. He was interviewed here at United Nations headquarters in New York by Don Shannon of the Los Angeles Times, Mikhail Kochikov of TASS News Agency, and Raghid Derham of the Lebanese magazine Al Hawadith. I'm Michael Littlejohns. Thank you for joining us. We invite you to be with us again for the next edition of World Chronicle.
Transcripts of these interviews may be obtained without cost by sending a stamped self-addressed envelope to World Chronicle, United Nations, New York, New York, 10017, room 837. World Chronicle is broadcast worldwide in developing and developed countries and features guests whose work is concerned with major global issues. This program is a public affairs presentation of this station from United Nations Radio and Television.